I think some people think that when I shed hunt, all I do is drink coffee and let the dog fill the back of the truck. It doesn't work that way. Once we get dogs to start understanding that things that look like sheds should be retrieved, things that smell like sheds should be retrieved, now we start talking about, well, there's things like quartering and casting. Like, I need dogs to work with and I do not. I think some people think that when I shed hunt, all I do is drink coffee and let the dog fill the back of the truck. It doesn't work that way. I don't want to disappoint people, but I also think you got to have realistic expectations. Part of the reason I find more shed antlers with a dog is because they see and smell and they cover more ground and they get opportunities that I probably would miss. But the majority of the reason I find more shed antlers is because when I have a shed dog to go shed hunting with, if I didn't have a shed, like I shed hunted before I had dogs to shed hunt with. I always had dogs, but I didn't shed hunt with them. I never found a shed I found one prior to the year that I started with the dogs, and it was lucky. I felt like I shed hunted a lot. I probably did it for 4 or 5 years. I was pretty young. I wasn't looking in the right spots. I mean, I just didn't find any antlers. I got a dog and I started finding sheds, and I think it was because, yes, I had a dog, but the real reason is because when I shed hunted prior to that, I might have went 3 or 4 times a year for a couple hours. As soon as I started shed hunting with the dog, I went every weekend. I'd go from dark to dark every weekend. During the week, in the evening I would go. I'd get home early from work, I'd go. I'd get done with school, I'd go. I shed hunted so much more than I did without the dog. Well, if you do anything more often, you'll get better at it. I found a couple sheds in spots where I never thought I'd find a shed, and I realized there's a reason these sheds are here. So what did I do? I started looking in the right spots. And all of a sudden I start looking in the right spots and I start looking more often. And the reason I'm doing it is because it's way more fun for me to take my dog. So I want people to understand the realism here. These are not robots. If you do something more often and you get better at it, you'll find more success. That's part of the reason why the other reason, I got asked to go to a lot better places. I mean, the best duck dogs duck hunt quite a bit. The guy with the best duck dogs gets invited to the best duck holes. The guy with a bad duck dog never gets invited. Why would you want them to come? So as soon as the word gets out that, man, you got a really good dog, well, guess I got a really good spot. You should come. Okay. And all of a sudden you're giving your dog more opportunities. It takes opportunities for these dogs to figure it out and have it click. I can train all I want, but it's no different than tracking dogs. If we train, and we never take them on tracks, and then the one time a year we really need them, they look bad, they look rusty, they don't put it together, I say, hey, it's experience that makes them very good. And so think about, a lot of people can think of and relate to pheasant dogs or upland dogs, because so many people who pheasant hunts or upland hunts. So just the two of you? You guys don't? So it takes a lot of birds to make a good bird dog. Everybody knows that. The thing that's different about that in a shed dog is I can join a pheasant farm and I could put 100 pheasants out every day if I wanted to. I mean, if I could afford it. I could put a lot of birds out. I could go on a lot of little corporate shoots and I could flush a whole bunch of birds in a season for these dogs. I can go to South Dakota or North Dakota. Iowa's getting a little bit better, but there are places that I can go and hunt without game farms and have fair chase stuff, and I can get into a slough and I can flush a lot of birds and give a dog a lot of experience very quickly. So they develop. Now that first season might be rough, but by the time we're done, they might have seen 1,000 birds. It's a lot of opportunity. It's a lot of experience. How many of you guys found 1,000 sheds last year? I want to go where you're going. I got really good dogs. You should invite me. I don't know people. I know a lot of people that my goal way back in the day was 100 sheds a year. I did it once, maybe twice. And I used to shed hunt a lot. I really wanted to hit that 100 mark. When I was younger, like different things meant things to me, and I really was into numbers, and I wanted to hit 100. And I did it once, I think. I got close the second time. But Who has anyone in here found 100 sheds in a season? You have. Spends how much time shed hunting? Lots, and he goes out west specially to shed hunt. So not very many people in a seminar will raise their hand when I ask that question. And so I look at it and I go, well, these dogs need every opportunity, just like that pheasant dog, to put the pieces together. And some people won't have 100 opportunities in the dog's lifetime, and that's okay. It's just harder, and it makes you have to understand your expectations have to be realistic. So that's why I say when you find one, don't run over and pick it up, because that might be. I talked to a girl that I think she was in Missouri. We do a podcast, and so I surprised this girl at the training Zoom call. It was a few months ago when it might have been a little longer than that. But we were trying to do stuff to help people train at home, because everyone was at home and everyone had a dog, and it was a great opportunity for people to train. And I got flooded with lots of questions. So we surprised, and I don't have the ability to do like online training, and a lot of people were asking for it. And so we said, well, it'd be kind of fun. Let's surprise a couple people. So we did some giveaway stuff, and then we picked some winners and we surprised them. But we did a 45-minute Zoom consultation. It ended up being about an hour and a half because I jabber. But so we did this talk with her, and she's talking about how disappointed she was this shed season, and they had found, I think, 14 sheds or something with the dog, and it was its first year. And of the 14 that they found, I think the dog picked up 4, and she was real kind of bummed out about it. And I said, well, I have news for you. Like, think about that again and realize that most of the people that are listening to that podcast won't find 14 sheds in their life, much less in a season, and their dog won't pick up 4 out of the 14. I said, that's a pretty high percentage. Like, it's 30-some%. I said, boy, that's a lot when you think about it that way. And then she said, well, yeah, but it was only 4 sheds. I said, yeah. And then her friend had a kid that did karate. So we started talking about that, and I said, well, what does that karate kid do? And she's like, well, broke a board the other day, and that was a really big accomplishment. Kid broke a little board, and the kid's pretty young. And so I said, wow, how did you react when the kid broke the board? Were you kind of disappointed that it was just a little board? And she's like, no, we were really excited, and we made her think she was a superstar. And I'm like, really? It was just a young kid, huh? And you were trying to build its confidence up, right? She's like, yeah. And I said, really? Because that dog is how old? And it was like 11 months old, maybe younger when it was hunting. I said, boy, it's kind of like a young kid that found 4 antlers for you, and you're disappointed. And you could just see it hit her, and she's just like, she felt really bad. And I said, it's all about perspective. Like, fuck, I'd be really happy if my young dog did that its first season. So all of a sudden she recognized and realized, boy, maybe he's right. That probably was a pretty good season. And by the end of the conversation, she was all excited about training again, and nothing was different except how she was thinking about it.